Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Advanced Warfare in Depth. In today's episode, we're getting back on track with the weapon reviews with the AK-12. There hasn't been a Call of Duty game that I can remember without a Kalashnikov variant weapon in it, and Advanced Warfare's version is the AK-12. Before I move into the stats, I thought I'd let you know that I'm going to be trying to do all of the weapon reviews now and a little bit less of some of the other things. Unfortunately, the game stats are not done being decrypted, so I'm going to be doing these reviews via hand testing, and that makes everything take about 5 times longer than before. So I'm going to be doing weapon reviews every other day, and on the off days some other topic. But let's talk about the good old AK-12. It'll deal between 33 and 24 damage per shot, depending on how far away you are from the enemies, with the 33 damage being up close and the 24 damage being far away. That'll make it a 4 to 5 shot kill, again depending on how far away you are. And if you haven't noticed, those numbers are really close to being a 3 to 4 shot kill, which means if they're injured just slightly, if you've hit them with one stun grenade, if they've taken one bullet from somebody else, or fall damage, or just any sort of little nick, it'll be a 3 to 4 shot kill. So do keep that in mind because those are borderline numbers. Headshots will deal 1.1x damage or 10% bonus damage. That'll make it kill in one less shot at any range if you squeak in a headshots, and a whole lot of headshots can make a significant difference at long ranges. But again, not the hugest of multipliers, just makes it a little bit shorter. We're not going to be getting any Call of Duty Ghost melty style headshots here, and the damage drop off range is very long. If you're looking at the clip right now, this is me shooting J-Hub at the maximum range of the AK-12's 4-shot kill, and it's got very long range before it becomes a 5-shot kill weapon, which will be important later on. The rate of fire is 720 RPM, which is actually kind of fast for assault rifles in this game, and it's on par with most of the submachine guns with the exception of the MP11. That would be slower in other Call of Duty games, but TTK is pretty low in this game, so do keep in mind that 720 RPM is a little bit on the high side as far as Advanced Warfare is concerned. I'm adding in a new segment of accuracy testing or foregrip testing in every single episode of Advanced Warfare in Depth. So this is comparing the recoil with and without the foregrip. That first burst was without the foregrip. This is with the foregrip. And you can see that the grip makes it slightly more accurate in almost every circumstance. However, it's not a major increase. The gun by itself is very accurate and has low recoil even without the foregrip. And when you put the foregrip on it, it's even more accurate and it practically becomes a laser. It's just really nasty like that. Moving on, we should probably talk about the hip fire, and even though the handling stats or even the COD wiki or some of these things might tell you that the AK-12 has really good hip fire, unfortunately that's not true. The hip fire in this weapon is just not very good. The rate of fire is okay, but because it's a 4-shot kill weapon, you're going to need a lot of shots from the hip to kill, and that makes it a kind of hip fire hit marker machine. You're not really going to be outgunning the BAL or any of the SMG users. Continuing on with the accuracy, handling, and quality of life attributes of the gun, let's talk about the iron sights. What you're looking at right now is the default iron sights on the default AK-12. Most of its variants also have these iron sights, and I don't find them to be very good. They're a little bit obstructive. I don't like the closed circle on the end, and at longer ranges I do sometimes have trouble keeping track of my enemies. However, I love the iron sights on the AK-12G, the hair trigger, and some of the other variants. They have very good iron sights. It's more of the traditional AK iron sights, the half moon or half circle open sights. It's especially easy to track targets with at long range, and I vastly prefer those. And this is one gun where the optics vary, not the optics, but the iron sights vary a little bit, so I thought it would be important to show you both of them. Alright, let's get out of the subjective stuff and move on back to some numbers. The fast reload is 1.2 seconds and the slow reload is 1.42 seconds. That depends on if your magazine is empty, if you have bullets in it, or if you're double tapping your reload button to do the fast reload. I found this a little bit unusual in that the fast and slow reloads don't differ very much, so I guess it wouldn't really matter which one you do. I'd probably just always do the slow reload to save ammunition unless you just absolutely have to have it, but nothing really special about the times themselves. They're neither fast nor slow, they're pretty average. There is something unusual about the raise and drop times. The raise time, or the time that it takes to bring the AK out if you have it put away, is a little bit slow at 1.2 seconds. However, the drop time is extremely fast at barely over half a second, 0.55. That means if you have a secondary weapon like a knife or an RW1 or an Atlas 45 or even a sniper rifle or something, you can draw it extremely quickly, which will mean that the AK-12 is an excellent weapon if you want to run overkill and have some sort of, heavy weapon as a secondary, or if you just like pistols and feel that you need a little something extra for close quarters combat, which with the AK-12 you should probably feel that because the 4 shots to kill up close is not very fun. It makes it an excellent candidate for carrying a secondary weapon because you can draw it so incredibly quickly. Movement speed is 90% or or run speed, as I wrote it on there on the screen. That's standard for assault rifles. That is pretty much every single assault rifle is going to have that bit of information. A new segment on In-Depth for Advanced Warfare, we're going to talk about the weapon variants because, well, there's quite a lot of them. The best weapon variant that I have used is the hair trigger. I find that one to be the best because it allows the AK-12 to fire faster and only has a minor penalty to accuracy, which the AK-12 is extremely accurate to begin with, so penalizing accuracy doesn't hurt you very much, and if you feel that you are hurt by it, you can just go ahead and slap a grip on there. I have not used either the bleeder or the R.I.P in any extended circumstance other than picking them up, but looking at the stats and understanding the attributes as I do, both the AK-12 bleeder and the R.I.P or R.I.P appear to be very, very solid variants that I would highly recommend you keep or use if you have unlocked. A little offbeat note to put here near the end is that some optical attachments add sway to your assault rifle. As we discussed in previous in-depth episodes, none of the assault rifles, bar the MK14, have any idle sway. However, adding something like a thermal sight or an ACOG sight add a significant amount of sway to the gun, and even though you get additional zoom, it may not be worth it or worth the penalty to your accuracy. Moving on, let's discuss how the AK-12 is best used. I think the AK-12 is best for medium to long range gunfights due to its amazingly low recoil, and it has good range. The 4-shot kill range is very good. It's probably going to be better than that of the BAL and right on par with that of the HBR-A3. Kind of screwing up saying these guns here, but its low recoil is truly its strength, which is unusual because in past games the AK-12 has been kind of a... It's had some recoil, but it's been more of a precision weapon. It kicks up and it's been high damage. This one is a low damage, high rate of fire, but extremely accurate weapon. As a matter of fact, it has less recoil than the actual laser in this game, and if any weapon in the game is a laser, fully automatic that is, it's probably the AK-12. And I have a tendency to run grip on it because I don't think my accuracy is really that amazing, so I stack the grip on there and I make it a super laser, and that's really its strength. You want to run this on bigger maps if you play conservatively, if you like to hang back, if you don't like to go in on the objectives, if you like to guard them, protect them, if you just like to slay people from a distance, the AK-12 is going to be for you. This is a ranged assault rifle if I've ever seen one, and I highly recommend that you use it in that role, and I highly recommend that you don't use it in close quarters combat. The primary reason with this gun being bad up close is that it requires 4 shots to kill, and it's not a submachine gun, so it doesn't have great hip fire, and 4 shots to kill is not your friend in close quarters combat. Close quarters combat, you want 1 shot, you want a shotgun, you want 3 shots to kill, you want a very low time to kill kind of thing, because the accuracy isn't going to matter as much with a distance of like 2 meters, so highly recommend avoid using it up close. I tried my best. I tried a couple of different classes. I even tried the one that shot faster to see if I get a lower time to kill to make it pan out, and it really didn't. You're going to lose to the bow pretty much every single time up close, so I don't recommend doing that. Last up, we're going to talk about my preferred loadout with this weapon, and I'm going to talk about attachments and perks. I prefer using both the red dot sight and the foregrip with this weapon. Other attachments are optional. While the iron sights are pretty good, they're really not what I need for long range combat. They're good up to, close and medium, they'll get the job done, but the AK-12 is a long range gun. I wouldn't be popping people on the other side of the map, and the irons just don't do that for me. However, Advanced Warfare has really excellent looking red dot sights that are very clear. The dot's very tiny in the middle, very like a lot of open space. I can track targets easily, I can ping them easily, pop them easy, very, very easy to work with, and I recommend that. And even though the foregrip doesn't have the biggest effect on the AK-12, again, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. I know that my aim, my personal skill and accuracy is not super high or amazing, and I'm using it at extreme distances, so I feel that adding the foregrip is justified both on my personal skill level and how I'm trying to use it. It really kind of like I said before, it makes the gun a laser. It makes it extremely accurate, and I like that. And as far as perks go, I highly recommend the perk Cold-Blooded because it takes the red name off you. So when people look at you, the little red name pop up, they know you're an enemy and they'll shoot you. But with Cold-Blooded, that doesn't happen, and the player models in this game have a tendency to look very similar to each other. So I run Cold-Blooded because in long-range combat, when somebody looks at me, if the red name doesn't pop up, they might hesitate and not shoot at me, and that hesitation is going to get them killed. A little mind game that I play there. But it's how I play, it's how I work. Other optical attachments, use at your own sort of discretion, but red dot is the way to go for me. That's all for this episode of In Depth. I hope hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something useful. If you'd like to check out the previous episode, that is going to be on patch notes. The next episode is going to be on a supposed stealthy, prone glitch sort of bug or tactic. We're going to investigate that when it showed up on Reddit. After that, we're going to move on to the HBR-A3, but like I said, the weapon reviews take a very long time if you test them by hand. As always, if you enjoyed, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.